Long before the marshes filled the streets, before schools were forced to integrate, and before civil rights laws had any real teeth, there was one lawyer who saw the path forward with perfect clarity. He understood a fundamental truth. If the law could create and enforce inequality, then the law could also be the very tool used to dismantle it. That lawyer was Thurgood Marshall, a name that would echo through the halls of justice for generations. Born in Baltimore, Maryland, back in 1908, Marshall's early life was steeped in the language of the law. He grew up accompanying his father to watch court cases, and the dinner table at home was a lively forum for debating the Constitution. This early immersion in legal arguments wasn't just a hobby, whereas the forging of a weapon. He went on to attend Howard University School of Law, a powerhouse institution where he was mentored by the brilliant Charles Hamilton Houston. It was at Howard that Marshall was trained not just to be a lawyer, but to be a social engineer to use the legal system itself. Now, it's important to remember, Thurgood Marshall didn't start his incredible journey on the cushioned benches of the Supreme Court. His career began in the trenches, in hostile courtrooms scattered across the American South. He was the voice for the voiceless. Sleuths. In these courts, there was often no protection, no chance of a fair trial, and sometimes no hope at all. But there was Thurgood Marshall. As the lead attorney for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, he became a legal warrior on the road. He traveled thousands upon thousands of miles, often putting his own life at risk. He faced constant threats of violence, navigating a deeply segregated and dangerous landscape to challenge the notorious Jim Crow laws head-on. He wasn't just arguing points of law, he was standing up to a system of oppression, one case at a time, armed with little more than his briefcase and his unshakable belief in justice. Then came 1954. This was the year of his greatest, most monumental achievement. Marshall stood before the Supreme Court as the lead attorney in a case that would change America forever. Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka. This wasn't just about getting black and white children into the same classrooms. This case was an all-out assault on the very foundation of legal segregation. The court's landmark decision declared that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional, too. It was a thunderous blow that shattered the separate but equal doctrine. A legal fiction that had justified state-sponsored segregation for over half a century. The Brown decision did more than just open school doors. It sent a shockwave through the entire legal framework of Jim Crow. It was the crack in the dam that would eventually lead to a flood of change. Following this historic victory, Marshall's fight was far from over. He continued to argue and win dozens of critical civil rights cases before the Supreme Court, each one chipping away at the pillars of inequality. He reshaped the legal landscape for housing rights, expanded voting access for black citizens, fought for fair jury selection, and strengthened due process protections for everyone. 2. In 1967, Thurgood Marshall made history once again, this time on a personal level. He was appointed to the Supreme Court, becoming the first black justice in the history of the United States. From his seat on the highest court in the land, he continued the same mission that had defined his entire life. He became a powerful and consistent voice on the bench, ruling in favor of civil rights, upholding the principle of equal protection under the law, and working to expand individual liberties for all Americans. He understood better than anyone that rights written down on paper are meaningless unless they are actively enforced and protected in the real world. For real people. So let's break down the impact. How did his achievements benefit African Americans back then? The answer is profound. His legal victories systematically dismantled legal segregation. They opened up access to better education, a pathway to opportunity that had been denied for centuries. They protected the fundamental right to vote, giving black communities a political voice. chipping away at a biased justice system. In essence, Thurgood Marshall's work forced the U.S. Constitution to finally live up to its own promises and apply its protections to everyone, not just a select few. And what about now? How does his legacy benefit African Americans today? The impact is just as powerful, though sometimes less visible. Every single time a discrimination case is brought before a court. 2. The arguments are built upon the legal framework that Marshall constructed. Every time judges evaluate issues of equal protection, school equity, or violations of civil rights, they are relying on the precedents that he fought so hard to establish. His work is woven into the very fabric of our legal system. Now, Thurgood Marshall's work did not magically eliminate racism. He knew it wouldn't. 2. The struggle against prejudice is a different kind of fight. But what he did was give African Americans powerful legal tools to challenge racism in courtrooms, in workplaces, in schools, and in polling places. He leveled the playing field in a way that had never been done before. Thurgood Marshall didn't lead marches through the streets. He fought his battles in the courtroom. And because of his tireless, brilliant, and courageous work, millions of people gained access to rights and opportunities they were never meant to have. His legacy isn't just a historical footnote. It is structural. It lives and breathes in the law itself. And perhaps the most important lesson he left us is this: justice is not a given. It doesn't happen automatically. It must be argued for, it must be defended, and it must be protected case by case, in every single generation. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and share this video to help keep this incredible legacy alive. We'll see you in the next one.